Welcome, and I'm happy we're having this interview because I listened to what Dr. Victor Ike-Oye said. It's highly unfortunate. But to address the question you asked me, straight after our convention that I emerged, on June 19, 2029, Dr. Victor Ike-Oye took me and Apga to court, claiming that I was not the national chairman and that Apga should stop recognizing me. He got orders of court to this effect. This is the order of court, restraining me from parading myself and also restraining Apga from recognizing me. That was immediately after our convention. Not only that, he got an order of substituted service inside Apga office in Wusetu. He served me and Apga in the office of he didn't just get it was his order of substituted service, and saying this was my last plenum in Apga National Headquarters in Wusetu. Before we now move to that office we have. I listened to it. I wouldn't call it. Because I have to restrain myself as by level of what I actually did send him a message, but the message was that they refused. They initially refused to collect our. The convention was called after the congresses. Once he had lost all the congress, the congress that we did on 2nd, 3rd, and 6th, he decided to. I had a meeting in the army because I'm a member of the War College, their mess. I invited the legal advisor, and he told me that I shouldn't bother contesting, that they decided to do a one list. So I sent a message to Oye telling him that I purchased my form and that he has instituted a convention committee, that whether he moves the convention or not, the convention committee with the BOT members have decided to go ahead with their convention. But let me kill all that so that we save time. He mentioned something there that INEC said they supervised election and I did not. I give you a straight example that you will remember. In 2021, was it 2021, Anambra did the elections when this suit in Jigawa that has actually now pronounced me national chairman in Supreme Court, where he says that I'm nowhere mentioned in this particular suit. That's the case in Jigawa State, where they put up a 7-man disciplinary committee to recommend that me, the national chairman, should be removed from office pending national convention. And then the number 2, the NEC appointed the deputy national south, Jude Okeke. You remember that immediately this court thing came out, Jude Okeke was taken on by INEC as the acting national chairman. I'm sure you remember. Jude Okeke became. So how would Jude Okeke have become acting national chairman if the convention was not monitored, if the convention was illegal, if it was not affirmed our convention? They took my deputy as replacing me after this case. And now this case went from the lower court to the Court of Appeal, where they refused to join me. And after the Court of Appeal, the judge said on page 78, somewhere in our records, that I ought to have been joined. I ran off again to the Supreme Court, where the lead judge, they said there's no joiner in this case, that the case is a rubbish case, that it's going to be dismissed. Then the second judge, Salowa, made it clear that politicians are very mischievous people. It's all in the records. Salowa's judgment, that politicians are mischievous, that they need to revert back to the status quo where it was before that misdeed was of my removal. The other judge, Lawal, said that everything happened in Owerri. Have the press ever asked Oye, where did you do your convention? He keeps parading a letter from a member of staff, and it's highly unfortunate. While the judges were on recess, members of staff of the Supreme Court went off. One wrote a letter. The chief registrar wrote a letter to INEC, hand delivered it to INEC, where a bailiff had already sent our Supreme Court judgment is through a bailiff. They hand delivered to say there was no amendment of 9th of May. The chief registrar wrote it and signed it herself, wrote one to the police. Then they now cooked the media pressman, Dr. Akande, and got him to come out on all the television, all the press people brought them together and announced that it was a fake judgment that I was parading. We nearly ran mad. So the police started investigating us. They cooked up with police. I had to rush to the IG to complain because one of the policemen had already started saying that they are charging us to court. So I went to say, you've got to get another investigator into this thing to look at what these people are doing, because I believe I don't like saying money has a lot of things have happened. Something has happened at the Supreme Court. Something obviously I believe is happening in the police. The IG of police was so wonderful. And you know what he did? The IG of police immediately brought a fresh investigator into the case and asked those people to hand over their file to this new investigator. 7 days after the investigator came on, they ran from the back, ran to one court in the High Court, and said they are charging me for fraud. Luckily for me, the author of the letter, and I wrote a letter in the period of time to the CJN saying, now wow, I found myself in a very terrible position. Though. These are the facts of this case. This is what happened. They gave us the CTCs. They made an amendment, gave me the CTCs. Suddenly, your staff, while the judges are still on holiday, are saying that the thing is fake. Can they not wait for the judges to come back? No, you know they will not, because there was some sort of a cutoff period on the 20th of September for all the candidates. So Oye and his people tried to subvert me from bringing the candidates. They wrote a letter to police through the CR. I wrote a letter to police. Now will be threatening me. We are coming to arrest you. We are coming to arrest you. My people are all worried. And then take one directly to the chairman of the commission, who now said, hey, they've said fraud. We can't take your judgment. The judgment is fraud. And I wrote a letter to all the judges, all of them. This is the one from my lawyer. We now wrote again to INEC, where we are writing the whole commission, telling them that there is a CTC that was served on you by the Supreme Court. But luckily, the lead judge has replied, because I wrote the CJN and I wrote the 5 members of the panel, saying, people are now saying that the judgment you people have done is not you that corrected. They're saying that I went and forged it. So the lead judge, thank God. I was just reading the other day that she's the chairperson of the human rights. I said, no wonder she can behave like that. That at least there's some human beings in Nigeria. Came out and said, please, everybody, hold on. I made the correction with all of us. We agreed to make the correction because Oye was never part of the suit. The proceedings, Njoko was the one removed. When the case was dismissed, if you are removed, if you were chairman and you are removed and the case is dismissed and a judge in an anonymous decision says it goes back to the person that was removed now. Is it going to go to you, Oye, because you and the governor have more money than I have? It's not like that. Will it go to you, Oye, because you can get somebody to write a letter and say it is forged? A director of media has no right to interpret the judgment of a Supreme Court. At least they should have waited for the judges to come back. We would not have been in this mess. Would we? We would not have been in this mess. And I also commend AIT. I won't mention some different, I nearly said the word, different stations. If you check the story of Apga, it has never been any day that a large channel in Nigeria, I won't mention its name, has ever tried to balance any story. When you finish with you are coming from Oye's own. Everything, the only thing I've seen them do today was when they put a disclaimer saying that what this man is saying is not our responsibility. But from start to finish, every news that is carried by Anambra State government, including Apga, whether it's false, whether it's, they never ever try to balance any of that story. They carry it. And on front of their place, they keep saying, national chairman, when the Supreme Court has spoken. Nigeria should stop all this rubbish. That I don't have the kind of money a governor has does not mean that I cannot get justice. I don't need them to be my friends to get justice. Justice is my right. Justice is your right. The Supreme Court changed, and that's a judgment he has been enjoying. So as soon as they change the error that was made, they don't want me to enjoy my judgment. It's not fair. And secondly, why would INEC, you people should be asking INEC, why did you people give Jude Okeke acting national chairman when he removed Njoko? And now when Supreme Court dismisses the case that Jude Okeke used to remove him, you are no longer taking the Supreme Court judgment. Why? Why? What is the problem? What has Njoko done? Is it that he doesn't have as much dollars? I don't know.
So what is the way forward from all of this?
The way forward is that the Supreme Court has released. The thing is that we have written to INEC again, our lawyers, which are saying there was a CTC sent to you with an enrollment order from the Supreme Court to you, and you put it aside saying it was fake, that you've gotten a letter from the CR and co saying it was fake. Now the 5 justices rather, are back. And the lead one from retirement has said, I made the correction. I made the correction. This is the original thing. I wrote a letter and I got a reply of my letter. And the letter I wrote to and it's a letter I wrote to the CJN and copied and attentioned her and attentioned the other 5 judges. Equally well, the CJN will reply me because I wrote the letters to them. And this is the letter that he's saying is forged. This is the letter he's saying is forged. We are going back to report to the IG that they are wanting to use what Dr. Akande said against what the author, the person who presided over the case, is saying. There is no other person to ask. And she has made it categorically clear in writing. Did you write this letter? If she says she wrote this letter in reply to my queries, then all that area, then, better save some of that as well, because the lawsuit I'm going to put onto him, and everybody knows it's called for, because they've disparaged me in all kinds of manner. Look at him praying the Bible. They're suddenly saying, if I come into that office, there's a god of the land called Amadi something. He said it will blow me up, that I'll die on the seat. After praying with the Bible, Corinthians this, Corinthians that, then he comes and his true color comes out, and he starts swearing with Amadi Oha. We've seen what's played out in the Supreme Court through the staff of the Supreme Court. We've seen what is playing out in the police. If it wasn't for the IG of police, I would have been in serious problem. I don't know the IG before, but he did the right thing by bringing another investigation. But before that investigation has come to an end, they've rushed to the court. All they wanted to do was to embarrass me. The television, they say they've arraigned Chief Njoku for fraud. Luckily, God is working for me. Oh. The lead judge came out with a statement. And if the police are doing their work really, they don't even need the judge. There are members of the staff of the judges who are there. Ask them. And they've given them interview and they say, yeah, that they were even the ones that took it to get a certified true copy and gave me a copy. So where did I commit fraud? Where have I lied on anything we are doing? Oye should calm down. Look at the way he's talking about the party house, party office, as if it's his private property. Is that what politics is all about? It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. I keep calling the press out. Inside that his press conference, so-called press conference, I only saw nobody really asked any question. There are very pertinent questions that should be asked. Very serious questions should be asked. Why did you take Njoku to court in the FCT as the first court case? You took him and got injunctions on him, not ex parte, interlocutory injunctions. And then you also went to that same court to withdraw them. He starts quoting the Federal High Court, who said that the representation, that our lawyer is a true lawyer. That case, but that I don't have the right, that second part of the was to bring for a mandamus, that it is that my legal advisor who came out from the Owerri Convention that can go for this order of mandamus. Everywhere you go, Supreme Court, the letter of Akande he's talking about, read it. He says to you, Owerri, convention in Owerri. Oh yeah, did you do convention in Owerri? Oh yeah, did you do convention in Owerri? Answer that. President should ask you. The Kande letter you are shouting said the convention in Owerri. Oh yeah, did you do convention in Owerri? Everywhere has legitimized. Federal court has said it's Owerri. Supreme Court has said it's Owerri. I emerged from Owerri. My deputy Jude Okeke, who went to court and removed me, Jigawa, came out as acting national chairman, and INEC gave him a letter of recognition. If you go into INEC, he's talking about file. All our files disappeared in INEC from the beginning of INEC of 2002 up to the 7th of when did they do that? Their kangaroo NEC meeting in Government House. They did it on the 15th of the 14th. So I remember I've seen it. All their kangaroo things disappeared up till the 17th. Our file reopened again in INEC in the EPM office on the 17th of May 2019. Then funny things start flying in there to say this, to say that, to say that. Where you have people have mutilated and thrown away all the original documents.